Wonder Woman soars past $300 million globally, satisfying critics and audiences alike. And next, she's set to wrap the lasso of truth around the mummy. And Superman saves a turtle. Today on DC Movie News.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's DC Movie News.
So much more fighting on
I
this
don't
show.
know whether you just knocked that screen so that DC went away, or whether it was like that. But you hee-hawed all the way over to DC.
Full Adam West Batman happened.
Hoo-ah!
It came off as full Adam West, but it was meant to be young Diana.
That made it,
My
Which
favorite
one?
part of
The
Wonder
littlest
Woman.
Diana or the middlest Diana?
The youngest.
The littlest.
The really littlest one. When she's
was
ready to
so cute.
hoo-ah! She was my favorite. Welcome, everyone, one and all, to DC Movie News. We're here to talk about the fabulous success of a little film called Wonder Woman, many other items in the DC universe. Let me introduce you to this fabulous panel. Returning to the show, she's a semi-regular. You love her. You know her. She's a Wonder Woman in her own right. Elena Jordan is here.
Hi, thanks for having me back. Thanks for coming back.
Elena, how many times have you seen Wonder Woman?
I've only seen it twice.
Only twice?
Only twice. I need to step up and see more. I should have just gotten the gold card. I feel like I might.
Oh, that's right. What is that, like $100
It's like
or something?
$100 and you can
For
see it as much as you want. I
But
might still
3D,
do it.
you can do IMAX.
Anything you want?
Anything.
Anything
I
you
kind of think I
want.
might still do it.
Wow.
I think it might be worth it.
Well, you're doing your part for its global cume, that's for sure. Next, we have the crown jewel of the DC Movie News universe. Roxy Striar is here and dressed in black.
Adam, how long do you think we can milk it where we talk about Wonder Woman for the majority of the show? Like, how many weeks can we do that for? Because we had no show for so long. We had no movie. Like, we can use this for at least
I think 6 weeks.
Six.
I'm gonna go 6.
Our
Wow, we
surprise
got
guest
six.
is saying 6 weeks.
Okay. I'm
I-
thinking like 3 months.
I'm thinking, yeah. I was
Well, just
like
think of how much legs we got out of the films that were financially successful, but like very divisive among
Yes.
fans and lambasted by critics.
8 weeks, it'll be out on DVD, so you can jump another 3 or 4 on there. So maybe longer, actually.
I feel like I'm just going to keep talking about it. Anytime anybody says anything negative, I'm
Wonder
gonna go,
Woman?
Wonder Woman.
Well, listen, we've been around for a long time. We've had plenty of sand kicked in our face by the
we
other
liked it.
competition, and we like it. We took it. So now that we've got a movie that is making
we
people
took
happy,
that fight to the beach.
we're happy to talk about it. We sure did. We took them to the sands of
Stand in
Themyscira.
our face and we'll
But not
fight you on the
Baywatch.
We have one other surprise guest. Fans of the Schmoedown might recognize our next guest from a somewhat controversial victory in the Inner Geekdom
You talking about pudding?
Championship. What you may have not have seen on that show was that there was a behind-the-scenes handshake bet for hosting show Pink Slips, and unfortunately, the new host of DC Movie News, Coy Jandros here. Coy.
I mean, hey, you gotta win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning. So,
So Mike's gone officially, that means?
That's it.
That's what I was told. I mean, I was not behind the alley where this sort of shady business. I was there to support Mike, as you saw, with you, Roxy. We were there, and
You were
Johnny.
doing a lot of listening.
I was doing a lot of listening. Yeah, I was trying to convey myself. Something about my Lederhosen made me the strong, silent type.
I
like to
stripped
feel.
him of his bat suit, like, in the room. I was like, mine now! No, Mike
boy.
killed, man. That Schmoedown was amazing. Mike, owned that Schmoedown, so I give full Mike credit live on air. I was flabbergasted throughout the fight, and then Puddin' just happened.
I just
so.
can't believe that final moment.
I give full.
Can't believe it.
I've posted everywhere on the internet I can, going, Mike's the champ. I won the last question. Like, I want it very clear that I love that fight, and I am excited to go back and do it again.
You
like,
can't
that's what I
change
want
the
to do.
rules of the game. The rules of that particular style of Schmoedown
how it
are
went
such
down.
that like points, being up a lot of points,
Yeah.
doesn't really help you, and that's just how that game is played. But watching it from the audience, it was so exciting because it was like he was beating you at Marvel,
Right.
And then everybody else got eliminated except the host of Marvel DC. So it was like a mini Marvel DC showdown, and then Mike beat Marvel. I'm like, beat him at his own game, and then that happened again.
And then it turned, and I just, I want to give full respect while he's not here. I was hoping to see him here and have a handshake moment, and he's not here, and I'm like, well, great fight. I'm excited for more.
Do you think he didn't show up because you were coming?
He thought
and
I was here, and he's like,
intimidated?
No, I thought it was a permanent change.
Oh,
I
right,
didn't,
that's it. I
yeah.
forgot.
Slips.
That's what we're going with. I
But
forgot.
yeah, exactly. It was Pink Slips.
I'm the 10-second car. Like, that's how many Fast and
Anyway.
Furious references will be in
Oh,
today's show?
I know. It does feel like a Fast and Furious kind of thing. Anyway, I'm very happy to see you here. I know I'm a big fan. You've let me be on the Marvel show before, and I know you've been a huge fan of Wonder Woman going back a long way. So don't think that this guy's a flip-flopper. He's been pro DC and waiting to be satisfied by Wonder Woman for a long time.
I want Bloods and Crips to be together, man. I want this bond. I want the love. We're all comic fans.
It is interesting timing though that now you want to come over to DC to talk about it. You didn't want to talk about BVS with us.
If Man of Steel was around, I would have happily been here. So let it be said that 2 of 4 halfway, I would have had plenty of zeal and happiness to talk about, and I'm here and I'm excited and I want unity.
Adam and I had to suffer through a whole lot to get to this point. Okay?
I'm just saying, for 3 years I've said unity.
Listen, well, hopefully
watch the tapes.
Hopefully we can have a comeback and we can get a team battle going soon, and we can get a full DC versus Marvel or something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, obviously the talk of the town, the talk of the world is Wonder Woman. How about Patty Jenkins? No better, no better, like, just what a representative she's been. Like,
and I love everything she's saying to everything that's happening. Like, all of her comebacks are brilliant because, for the most part, if you're not a complete piece of crapola, you like this film. Yeah. There's the people out there, though, that are like, this is cheesy. And she's like, I'm sorry. Did I say that right? Did you say cheesy? Oh, doing something good with the world? Oh, and everything she says is like priceless and brilliant. I love her.
Because she knew exactly what she wanted to make going into it, and she made exactly that. So she has a lot to stand by and be proud of, so she can kind of add a little bit of zingers in now, because she has the work to back it up.
Yeah, I totally agree. Some of the best post-coverage I've seen. Like, it literally was like they knew how good it was, so they were like resting on their laurels to pounce out and be like, this, and this is what we meant to do, and we did it, mic drop, and now just sass. Like, and they deserve to have that right.
And they were going to let no man tell them otherwise.
No, man. And we're going to talk more about Patty Jenkins a little bit later on in the show. First thing, we're heading into Wonder Woman's second weekend. It's been performing strong. She's soared past $300 million globally, as we said, which is great. Earlier in the week, it was the biggest Tuesday.
It was the second biggest Tuesday for a live-action film, and the fourth biggest Monday in June for a live-action film. So these were
second only to Jurassic World.
Yes. So these are for June Tuesdays.
And what
which is really... like, whose job is that? Whose job is that?
This Tuesday in June.
Like, somebody sits there every day of the week and marks every film that's ever been.
And they're getting paid. That's like a job. Like, someone's like a studio job being like, well, there was that 12-cent inflation.
It's pretty awesome. And, what that really just says is all these little details and little records mean is that the word of mouth is making the film perform better. It has legs. And, people wanted to see it earlier in the week. I was in a midday Tuesday showing yesterday with my parents.
And you said semi-full.
Semi-full, like really full for 3 p.m. on a freaking Tuesday. Like, I couldn't believe it. So that's no surprise.
Wait, we can't just sneak past this, though. So your parents went with you to the movie.
Yeah.
And they felt what kind of way about it?
Oh, well, my mom, Sandy, I wanted her to be here today because she's still out in California. She said, I loved it. I loved when they were... I loved them, the ladies fighting on the beach.
Oh, right, that part, yeah.
I loved the little girls that played Diana. They were both wonderful. And
I concur.
She loved the Amazon. She loved it all. Mom loved it. Dad loved it too.
He didn't have as much to say, though.
He didn't have as much to say.
He's
kind of the quiet guy. The mom is more the talkative one in the house.
And they fully understood. There was no questions.
Oh yeah, they see everything too. They see every movie. My parents. So
it did a great job explaining the universe because it was fun for me as like a diehard Marvel guy. Every time I see a Marvel movie, I'm constantly scanning for Easter eggs. I know Wonder Woman, but I don't know as much about Wonder Woman as I do about Marvel. So it was cool to be an objective comic fan and get to experience the movie like the average moviegoer. I got to be like, I don't know who that character is. I'm excited to find out more, and I haven't had that since Iron Man. Like, it was really exciting for me.
The interesting thing too, what I find with DC is that the origins have gone through more iterations than some of the Marvel ones, and part of that is just by virtue of the fact that Marvel is younger. But there's been rebirths, there's been crises, and they've changed a lot of the origins. So crises. I believe it's crises.
It is crises.
So they picked and chose, and using the fact that she was sculpted from clay as more of a story to tell young Diana, so they included that origin, but then they said our mythology is going to take this stand that she's a demigod. And that's a fact, and she doesn't even know her power. And when I saw the film the first time, and I thought her powers are very non-specific. The second time, I thought you're experiencing as the audience as she is too, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. So what do you think now about powers? What do you think's going on with this, and what do you think's going on with the flying? Is she soaring? Is she jumping?
I don't think she's flying.
Okay.
Okay, because she never extends the arc above.
It's the downwards motion.
She stops at the peak at the end of the film.
She glides.
So yes, she glides.
It's like a big jump,
and maybe she will eventually
like a Jessica
fly.
Jones type situation.
And I was thinking Jessica Jones meets Hulk, like the
very much like Hulk.
When Hulk leaps, but with grace and finesse, like Diana would.
3.5 miles, according to the official handbook of the Marvel Universe.
I would say roughly about that. So who knows who can jump farther, a Hulk or a Diana?
It's like sugar glider style.
As far as the powers, I think that this is, in true to Diana's spirit, I think when she does this thing, I don't think she can generate that out of nothing. I think it's all about re-diverting the force that's given back to her, like a super Aikido. Right?
The Hadouken of DC.
The Hadouken! That's what exactly. Thank you.
Yeah, I get that flavor.
That's how I interpreted the powers upon a second viewing, and still growing,
Physics, matter
Yeah, because when she gets it from a god, she can give it back to a god, and when she gets it from an Amazon, otherwise the god punch would have killed.
But the question people have about it, though, Adam,
Antiope.
is it in the cuffs or is it in Diana?
I think it's in her, and I think they're mystical bracelets
but
that
if they weren't
harness
on
the
her,
power there.
If she wasn't wearing them,
Maybe it's like Cyclops without his visor. I don't know.
I got more of a vibranium vibe. I got like the, Wakanda absorbs all kinetic energy and resends it. So I got that she was the only one that could control it, but the gauntlets are what was able to distribute it.
I think that. I think it's somewhere in
I'm
there.
in on that.
You're in on that?
So many geek references.
What do you guys think? I don't know.
I think it makes sense if it deflects bullets, then it would be that's what absorbs energy, and then her as a demigod is what then
can really release it.
Because if one of us was holding those, we would have been knocked down. We couldn't have possibly handled the force. She handles the amount of energy and then was able to send it.
How great is it that we're geeking out about the Wonder Woman movie after having seen it multiple times, by the way?
So cool.
Let's just say that. Oh, by the way, moving on to the next weekend, we were talking about box office, talking about numbers. Wonder Woman's about to open against the Tom Cruise freaking relaunch of Universal's oldest movie franchise. I mean, the monster movies are the original movie franchise. They're trying to relaunch it, and Wonder Woman is about to crush it.
I am so upset that Mike didn't show up for this debate. I put this in the motherfucking rundown.
But Tom Cruise, I'll be Mike, but Tom Cruise is the biggest star in the world.
Oh, is he?
Tom Cruise is the biggest star in the world.
Okay.
Tom Cruise, though.
But this is what
I love you, Mike. I'm not trying to throw shade, Mike. You're my champion.
Mike's argument this whole time, because he was saying to me, because I think The Rock is the biggest movie star currently in the world, and he thinks it's Tom Cruise. And his response to me this whole time has been like, but Tom Cruise is going to sell this franchise like no other. Could The Rock do that? Is Tom Cruise doing that? Because I'm pretty sure the Mummy's about to get slaughtered.
But Roxy,
How'd Baywatch do?
It didn't do very well, but that's not what it means anymore to be a movie star.
I think Tom Cruise is the last classic movie star. I think The Rock is the biggest current movie star, and the difference between classic... it's like Silver Age, Bronze Age comics. Silver Age is when you can open a movie. Bronze Age is when you're just very important to movies. Tom
Cruise is a way bigger movie star in general, but not currently.
Listen, if this Mummy movie was spectacular, I think Tom Cruise's presence makes it go mega, colossal, global, nuclear. But the fact is, there's a blockbuster every week, and like we're seeing like franchises like the Pirates franchise, the Aliens franchise, a lot of these well-known franchises, if they're not producing, people are really dialed into Rotten Tomatoes and word of mouth right now more than ever, to the chagrin of The Rock and the people that are bombing bigger than ever.
Right.
So which I think only helps us as audience members. I want The Mummy to be amazing, but there was nothing I saw that made me think.
$120 million shouldn't go to waste ever.
Double eyeballs. You got to give me something better than double freaking irises.
And Rolling Stones used again.
I did like that, though.
I loved it, but that's the problem is I leaned into it. I was like, now I'm interested because the Rolling Stones are here.
Exactly.
I have a bad joke coming right now.
Tell me, go.
Something about if we invented smell-o-vision and we smelled what The Rock was cooking and then going to the movies.
It would be a foul.
I hadn't finished it
I
yet.
like how you set up a joke, prefaced the joke, delivered the joke while assembling it, didn't have a punchline. Like, I think this will be a joke.
I knew it wouldn't go well.
This is cool. This is cool. It's like that show. It's like that show I'm dying up here. You can see the joke construction.
Yeah. There you go.
So anyway, I mean, it's exciting to see, and I think what's really going to determine, Wonder Woman's big, if it's going to cross over to that $700 million, which is kind of like the high bar right now. Man of Steel approaches $700 million. Suicide Squad is in the mid 700s globally, and BVS is in the mid 800s. This weekend, if it performs that well, I gotta think, you're going past Man of Steel.
Yeah, baby.
Oh yeah, I think definitely.
Which means Wonder Woman's better than Superman.
Which character was that? Because
I'm
you're dressed like, you look almost like Ursa. So can I hear you say Superman?
Superman.
Yeah, it's kind of.
Is that good?
I like it. I get the flavor.
Ursa-esque.
Cool.
I'd like to see a chart with all these, with the Tuesday June breakdown level of specificity. I'd like to see a chart of the movies where the studio was slightly more hands off because they gave the movie a high blockbuster budget, but not as much as another movie. So, Man of Steel had the 200 million range. X-Men gets 250. Deadpool had sub 100. Wonder Woman had 150. I want to see a chart where when the studios let the creatives have more control by giving them slightly less money, how much better the Rotten Tomatoes score is. Deadpool, Logan, Wonder Woman, 3 best of the best superhero movies are because we let the fans speak and we let the characters have arcs.
I want to see. We did that.
I'm saying we did that.
Yeah, me too.
I think so too. We have so many stories to get through. We're going to try to get through everything. I'm sorry, no, we're just so excited, but I'm looking at this and there's just like a lot of news stories. Here's a preview that I didn't see. Stand by. We're having some. Okay.
Just for video. We're having a video.
Okay, so we're not getting to videos yet, but anyway, so we had there was the preview for a film about the creation of Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So this didn't play before. Did you guys see this when you guys went to the theaters?
I didn't.
It played before 26 different.
Before either of mine. But
so it's called Professor Marston and the Wonder Women.
I'm so excited about this.
And it's about I mean,
why are they only playing it in select markets, and why wouldn't those markets be
Los Angeles?
In Los Angeles, like not to make us seem like the center of.
But where movies where we get and then they expand, just how the system works. So I'm surprised we didn't get pre-expansion.
I don't know. Is that part of like what you saw the story was about? That it was like it's only playing in certain markets, or it's just a tease? I mean, it's made by a smaller production company, so I don't think they're getting into every screen.
I think it's basically just pricing wise, it's a lot more expensive to do a trailer in Los Angeles because it is a market that
maybe is.
So I think it's because it's a lower budget movie. They just did it, but because we're all talking about it now,
but it's clearly
I guess some people. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I think part of what it is too is just having this at all, a little bit of buzz about it is going to garner enough attention just from them releasing it in the smaller markets.
That's true.
Because it's about the creator of Wonder Woman and his wife who co-created it. And the big thing a lot of people don't know too, he also created the lie detector,
which is so amazing.
The lasso of truth came from.
Yeah. So talk about verisimilitude.
It's amazing. I love that so much.
That just made me love the lasso of truth. I didn't know that until I read this thing. I'm like, are you kidding? And then I remembered maybe I had heard it once upon a time. And then they also had a third person in their love triumvirate too.
Yeah, they had their lover that the two of them had together.
That was one of my first DC facts I was obsessed with. I love the fact that this dude's got like multiple women, which is like a secret identity kind of thing, like a woman and a Wonder Woman, and then he's also a lie detector equal lasso. Like this guy.
It's awesome. That's
Luke
awesome.
Evans, apparently.
I guess some people were kind of confused when this played, thinking it was part of, because it looks like it's Wonder Woman, thinking it was part of the film.
Right?
Interesting.
Which that would have been an interesting thing to be sitting next to somebody being like, was that the movie?
Well, there's the Bill and Batman too, isn't there? Isn't there also one about the
Batman and Bill?
Batman and Bill, yeah.
It's on Hulu. I gotta watch that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that yet.
It's really good. It's about Bill Finger and about how he basically was edged out of the creation of Batman when he created it, and so it's a really great one with Kevin Smith popping in, doing a lot of really good talking heads.
Because the original Batman
Definitely
is very different
that.
before Bill Finger came in.
Yeah,
and,
and he finally is getting credit. Finally, just now.
So we have films about. We don't really have a film about Siegel and Schuster yet, but we got the Ben Affleck film that took place behind the scenes of the TV show, which was pretty sick. Are we able to watch videos yet, or should we just keep moving on with our non-video type stories?
I was trying to vamp for you guys.
The cool thing about Schuster,
we got to be able to eventually show that gal video because she is the cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Just her dancing gifts in the Wonder Woman suit are some of my favorite things.
But here's an image. We have another one of our DC heroes we'll cut over to. We have Henry Cavill, who was sported rocking a coffee mug and his Superman costume. Now, I heard some people saying, like, oh, he's on the set of Justice League for reshoots. Which it could have been. This picture could be from a long time ago. We don't know that.
Isn't it so funny how, like, we as human beings will post TBTs all day and pretend we are, but when the second somebody else posts something, it's like, he must be there right now immediately. This is the life he's living. This is live.
It's so funny.
Yeah, this was this moment.
It was 2 days ago. It was not a Throwback Thursday. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that
So
a Tossback Tuesday, perhaps?
A Tossback Tuesday.
do we
I
have
like it.
the image of that though? We have.
I don't know. He's not talking to us. I think
don't know.
we pissed him off. Anthony,
Do we got? We're flying blind up here.
are you in there?
I feel.
What's going on?
I
We're
feel.
jumping and soaring blind.
What's
We've
going on?
established we
You-
don't actually fly.
You tell us. Can we watch videos now or no?
No, you can't watch it.
Oh, okay.
Can we see the images? Cool. Can we check out the one of Superman with the coffee mug?
This is inside baseball, guys. We're gonna cut this out. You're only gonna get this if you see the live production.
Exclusive live feed.
This is we go on both sides. So yeah, I just loved how cool his boots look. I was really fixating on like, man, those
Yes.
things
Those
are so
boots are made for
carved.
walking.
They looked super Finn-like to me, though. It was like almost like Aquaman came out and put his little touch
all
on
the mail,
it.
all the detail of the mail on that.
Do
But
you guys go to ArcLight and obsess over the costumes like I do?
Oh my gosh,
God.
they're
'Cause the
amazing.
The costumes are kind of my jam.
Dude, I didn't know from Wonder Woman that the lasso also was completely practical. It lit up on its own. That wasn't
Yeah.
CGI.
Oh, really?
It was
And then they
hand woven.
100% practical? No.
They augment brighter,
They-
like they,
yeah, a
but
little bit,
like
but-
that way the lighting cues have all that right there, which is brilliant.
Damn.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
if
it
you ever-
actually is the light that you're getting off of it. It's amazing.
It's
These
pretty awesome if you're
costumers,
lucky enough to go to the
incredible.
ArcLight out here. So yeah, so there is Henry Cavill talking about it was like celebrating 79 years, right? 79 years ago that
Yeah.
Superman was.
Yeah.
Pictures at the TriCast faction wasn't able to read, so they can't really see it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Got it.
It's here, but it's just not. On
This
the
is some
TriCast.
exciting stuff for you guys
Oh,
out there, is
boy.
it not?
A Twitter heavy show. We'll do some tweets. We'll send some videos. We'll send some pictures.
Yes. Good. DC Movies SK, go there. We'll tweet out whatever you guys need to see.
So that's a good thing, but what a not so good thing that I think we should mention is that it started with Lebanon not showing Wonder Woman, and now
Yeah.
we're actually seeing that another country, Tunisia, is suspending and potentially canceling
Canceling.
Wonder Woman screenings.
I feel like suspension is code word for
Yeah.
canceling.
Well, I
Just
guess what it
sucks.
is like people brought a suit against the theater, and there were tickets sold, and people then like there is actually like a lawsuit against the theater
Yeah.
to show it, which is just so foreign to
I
anything that I
think
can
that-
relate to. It's pretty bizarre.
Right. Like, obviously, if you're watching this show, you probably have picked up on the fact that we live in America. The fact that this is a movie that anybody wouldn't want another human being to see blows my mind.
2017.
It blows my mind.
It doesn't seem like a modern problem.
And people are saying it's because with Lebanon, a lot of people were saying it's because Gal is Jewish
Former
and
soldier.
Israeli and a former soldier. But I think it's more than that. I think this has to do with females, with not wanting to depict them as so strong. There's so many different reasons, but I can't get over it.
Yeah.
Like, I just
For a movie that is so all about love being the driving force for everything and love always conquering hate and adversity, especially when it's based on demographics, something as trivial as demographics, to then say these demographics are the reason that we're not going to let people see it
Yes.
seems so counterintuitive and so ridiculous
And
that
it's
I
also-
can't.
Inclusivity. The movie's about including,
Yeah.
like the her team, like an actual Native American playing a Native American. Like you have all these. There's even a commentary, and he wanted to be an actor, but he was the wrong color. This is a movie
Right.
not only
Yeah.
about women, but about inclusivity of all types, colors, tones, sexes. The fact that it's being excluded in countries is so telling of like where we stand and how we're not as advanced as we should be, and it makes you
As
like
a
appreciate
world.
what you have
As a
world,
world,
yeah.
yeah, not like as a country. But it's interesting where we stand in 2017, seeing this stuff, and like it makes you want to work harder. Like it makes me want to do more.
It makes the movie
Yeah.
almost resonate even more.
Yeah.
It was cool how proud Israel was of Gal and like everything that they put up all over the place and
Yeah.
how they welcomed this movie with open arms. That was really cool. to
I
see.
know this is kind of a heavy topic, but I just want to say the chat roll, the people watching the show live right now, it seems to be, for the most part, they think it's a dick move. They think it's clearly sexism, anti-Semitism, whatever your political views are on Zionism, on Israel. The message of this film is a very
has nothing to do
positive
with that.
one.
Has nothing to do with
Right.
that.
And it just, like I said, it's hard for me to even judge because I can't imagine living in a country where I can't see the movie that I want to see. So it's hard for me in this world to even relate to that.
So they didn't like her costume because it wasn't American enough.
Right?
She's
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
American.
I thought it was an Onion article. When someone posted that, I was like,
So
oh no, that's
good.
the
But
real
they
life.
should be like,
What-
oh, you
what
can't
does that
even see
mean?
it. That's a whole other level.
But
Even if she was American, which she isn't, but even if she was, like, what the F does that
What are your
mean?
goals
Take a
here?
chill pill.
Is my outfit American enough for you?
Yeah, like who are you trying to
And I
not
was like,
offend?
who's going to tell them that Superman is an illegal immigrant? Oh,
Oh God, don't
Don't let them know. The symbol of America is inclusivity. Don't let them know.
Well, I mean, but then you had people saying like, oh, well, then Superman was a symbol of the superiority of Jews, because his creators are. I mean, like, and then if you look at the original Superman, was the Ubermensch, which was Lex Luthor, which was a villain. I mean,
There's so many layers to it.
There's
But
a lot of
welcome
layers.
your huddled masses on the Statue of Liberty can be misinterpreted apparently. So like it's a whole thing.
anyway,
Political DC news.
Let's move on to something more positive, and that is one of my favorite things in Wonder Woman was definitely the Amazons and their fighting.
Of course.
And
I told you I was
Antiope,
bawling.
And oh my God, Artemis and Antiope and
Hippolyta,
Hippolyta, and now it's fun
obviously,
that
yeah.
everyone can pronounce these the same way because the movie said it.
Yes.
Still, I hear a
love
lot of
it.
Hippolytas out there.
Yeah.
I'm still hearing Hippolyta all over the place, and I'm like,
And
did you
Antiochs.
see it? Yeah.
Get with it, people.
It's like a Harry Potter character.
But Robin Wright and Connie Nielsen are both going to be in Justice League.
Yeah, so we knew about Connie Nielsen, but we didn't know about Robin Wright. That
Which
was
now
interesting.
people, which kind of is a teller because for spoilers for Wonder Woman 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one of those women doesn't make it out of there alive, which implies that the Amazons are shown in a flashback sequence.
Or in a otherworldly or a voice or like hearing somebody, but most likely flashback.
I'd love like a Ragnarok
dream.
for Amazonians.
Yeah,
Dream sequence.
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know?
I have a feeling that like a lot of what we see is about the mother boxes. We've heard that the Amazons have one, that the Atlanteans have one, and that the Earthlings have one. So it just seems that there's going to be a lot of backstory, and I would think that you're going to see. The Amazons fighting with Apocalypse, the hordes of Apocalypse for that mother box.
What I'm mostly excited about from hearing this story, though, is the fact that Robin Wright is coming back.
Yeah.
Just because
Yes,
I love
she's so
her.
good.
Yeah,
And
she's
she,
so
and the
good.
second that she, just it was sad.
When she did those 3 arrows,
Man, that was a moment.
big
Like,
applause in the theater.
was-
Yeah.
Applause breaks.
But it was so quick that she was gone, and I was like, this is.
Like
what
every
is-
time she speaks in House of Cards, I'm like, give her a movie. And in this movie, I was like, give that character an arc. Like I wanted more and more, and they gave her a full arc, and I was so excited they did. Because as
Who
soon as
was
she
it
was
that
on
was
screen, like,
telling me this is so awesome that somebody? Oh, Maude Garrett was talking to me about this. That she was like, my 2 favorite princes in my lifetime. My 2 favorite princesses have graduated to becoming generals. And she's talking about Leia and Buttercup
Princess
in
Buttercup.
Princess Bride, which is like
I'd live to see
how
my two.
awesome.
Oh, that's
my
amazing.
That
Princesses
is-
become commanders.
Yes.
That's incredible.
How awesome is that?
I like when
I
she's
know.
walking around. She's like, "How is she doing? Work her hard. Okay, keep
Yeah.
it up.
Scars down her arms.
Yes,
and
okay,
like,
keep it
oh.
going. Yes."
Yeah, so good.
Oh man. Anyway, but one thing that might throw some question, although I don't think it's a bad thing, is that it was earlier this week. Everyone's like, "Oh, Patty Jenkins is already signed for Wonder Woman 2. It's a go picture." And then we
I
hear
love the
later on in the week.
assumptions of people.
Yeah, everyone just assumes it was like, well, that might not be. Turns out Warner Brothers has a policy with these big kind of blockbuster films. If it's a first-time director on a project of this size, that they don't go for the multi-picture lockdown, and that's pretty much their model, and it's worked for them in the past. But now it seems like they're going to have to go to the negotiating table if they want Patty Jenkins. Again, what do you guys think that means for...
Good.
Patty's in a good ass
Yeah.
spot here.
Yep.
Patty can just sit there and smile and write down a number on a piece of paper and slide it over. Now, luckily, I think she's a cool girl
Yeah.
and she's not going to do that. I think that she's like probably a good person and she wants this project. But imagine if this was some mofo. Like, she could do whatever she wants right now and WB has to just be like, well, we're signing that.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact that she's doing so much goodwill and like all that, she's such an ambassador of the film, like we we're saying with Twitter, like literally every day. I don't know where she finds the time
She's
to
so
interact.
active.
Yeah.
Like she's on Twitter.
And
She's
so-
She
like,
is one of the most, because also seeing her at WonderCon, she was so interactive with all of the fans, like to everyone. Even when she was done with her set of signing things, she's like, "No, I'm going to talk to everybody." She's just an amazing person.
What did I just see? Her liking and retweeting a picture of Mike Kalinowski. This is not a joke. I'm not making a joke right now.
She retweeted a picture of Mike Kalinowski.
It was either Roca tweeted it. So, Mike Kalinowski, John Roca, they're all like in this group of friends that all go see these movies together.
Okay, yeah,
He
yeah.
has his group. And I think John Roca tweeted it at Patty Jenkins or something, and she retweeted the picture. And I'm following her account. I see a picture of Mike Kalinowski pop up. I'm like, what the actual F just happened? Like, crazy. But yeah,
she does it.
She's super attractive. Yeah.
So yeah, I think she's in a great negotiating place, not only like financially, but and I'm sure she got a modest sum. She wasn't the first choice on this film. She came in after McLaren left, but also creatively, she had to fight for a lot of things in this film, and I think in a future film they're gonna trust her a lot more because she gets it that spectacle is one thing, but really, if it's not about the heart of the character, it doesn't matter.
I think that's the biggest thing.
It's the biggest thing.
Now we're gonna have.
We've been saying
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Logan,
because...
Deadpool, this. Those are the 3 examples for me of a character being a character.
We'll talk about it in a minute. That's the one thing going back to Dick Donner's Superman. It's like it's all about grounding the thing in the world. You can't just say it's a comic book world and wouldn't this look cool? And Patty Jenkins gets that. In fact, one example of that is the No Man's Land sequence. My favorite sequence of the film.
It's half the people's favorite sequence.
It's
the best. When you walk out, even if it wasn't your favorite, if it was your second or third favorite, everybody's like, remember that scene.
Yeah.
That was one of the most memorable moments in all of DC history.
I think it's one of the most iconic images in movies in the last 10 years.
Right.
Just barring superheroes, barring action, barring adventure, it's one of the most striking set pieces I can remember in movies.
And I think that says something so much about how the director sees it and says, this is an integral part of the film. We have to absolutely have this. And then the studio is confused by it, doesn't really understand why she's bringing it in.
You're hiring somebody for their vision.
Right. And so the fact that it did make it to the movie and that the feedback has been so overwhelmingly positive, I think that is a huge bargaining chip that she can use.
Did you guys?
So from Fandango, this was her quote that she actually said about
go ahead,
it because
please.
it almost got cut.
So the film, the scene almost wasn't in the film. People were against it, and here's one of Patty Jenkins'
quotes. She says, "It's my favorite scene in the movie, and it's the most important scene in the movie. It's also the scene that made the least sense to other people going in, which is why it's wonderful victory for me," which is interesting. She goes on to talk about it more, but yeah, everybody's been talking about how the scene almost was,
which makes me wonder what was cut and what
because if that was one,
I want to see every frame of everything that this woman has shot. I want to see it.
Well, no scenes were cut.
Yeah,
we've heard
which
that.
is great.
So she goes on to say, I think that in superhero movies, they fight other people, they fight villains. So when I started to really hunker in on the significance of No Man's Land, there were a couple of people who were deeply confused, wondering like, well, what is she going to do? How many bullets can she fight? And I kept saying...
She's fighting bullets, right?
And I kept saying, it's not about that. This is a different scene than that. This is a scene about her becoming Wonder Woman, which just shows us like, what...
Which is a real...
Who are these people?
Who are these people like?
So hey, tell me about that fighting bullets scene.
It's literally a woman saving these men from themselves on and off screen.
Right. There's no enemy there, and I think what she's saying, like, this is the scene where she becomes Wonder Woman, and it's less in your face than like flying down to like rescue a falling airplane. It's like this philosophical thing. It's the first time she's going against the evils of man, and it's breathtaking. And she even talks about the few reshoots they did do was a scene before that with the horses getting whipped to ramp up the tension and the people with their decapitated limbs, to ramp up the tension, to build to the moment when she sheds the coat and enters onto the field.
Because that moment is the moment. Like the shedding of the coat on the battle scene. What would you just have cut to her like in the uniform?
Like what would that have been like? Pregnant. When they were filming that scene with the CGI. Yeah, did you not? So Gal Gadot was 5 months pregnant when they filmed that scene. She wore the same costume. They cut a center piece out and then painted her belly green.
There was a green screen
belly. So they could
belly.
green screen out her belly.
Good.
So I'm like, I have to see these behind the scenes footage of just the most amazing thing. And Maya, her daughter, gets to grow up and say, I was in that belly.
Imagine being on set looking at Gal as Wonder Woman. Like, what a hillbilly version of Wonder Woman. Like, I'm sorry, but with the green painted, like, big-ass belly.
For me, I picture, like, what more woman moments.
Yeah.
Like, literally, could you ever be more of a woman than being 5 months pregnant fight? Like, she's literally, like, that's like we're always like, like, back in the day, they had babies and they went back to the rice fields. This woman fought on the battlefield with a pregnant belly. That's like...
While creating a life.
Empowering thing possible.
So, so that's incredible. So, what does all this really mean for the DCEU moving forward? And we talked about this on the show, and now we're talking about like what is what does Warner Brothers DC take from this? How do they move forward from their slates? This is all also to like, what are the next films that are going to be greenlit? So what do you think is the effect of Wonder Woman? How is it going to affect the slate moving forward?
Well, there was this awesome article on Slash Film that was talking about the lessons they should learn, like you're talking about now. And I think some of the points were really good. The new sincerity that they were talking about, like how sincere this movie really is, embracing conventions while taking chances. I feel like this was a very classic superhero movie. This did embrace the fact that there was a beginning, a middle, and an end. There was a big bad. There was a lot of those conventions, but it was a new angle that we hadn't seen. So there was a lot of different things to talk about.
And then, Mark Hughes, who we follow a lot in Forbes magazine, who's like written a lot of things, he's been writing about the DCEU for the past couple of years, as long as we've been doing this show, and he's a big proponent of Wonder Woman. And he wrote this article, which has been misinterpreted by many, as they always do, about how Warner Brothers, he suggested, is waiting till after Justice League to move forward. He later came back and said, no, that's not the case. It's just they're kind of pumping the brakes, perhaps, and not rushing into production on 8 films. Because you got to remember, Warner Brothers makes all Warner Brothers films. They're not like Marvel, which is a studio within Disney.
Yeah.
And even they only work on 2 a year, 3
Yeah, 3 now. But they've ramped up to 3. Like, they had to evolve to get the system. Like, it's a well-oiled machine now. Like, it's not fair to assume Warner Brothers can do the same out the gate.
No, and they tried to maybe move too fast.
Fantastic Beasts?
Right. So we know that right now it looks like Aquaman's going to be the only film that's going to happen in 2018 unless something gets into production really soon. And he's suggesting that that's not a bad thing. If we don't,
You think that we could have another movie in 2018?
That's in 6 months.
No, I don't. But it's still, they just announced Hellboy or whatever last month, and that's coming out in 2018, and that's a superhero film. The scale, I guess,
but
really
the
matters,
budgetary, like a Hellboy needs to be sub $50 million because otherwise they're going to go into it like we can't make her like Hellboy needs to be contained.
And that's why they broke from Guillermo, right? Because he was like, no, it's $200 million. And they're like, no.
Whereas Aquaman is huge spectacle, Flash needs to be huge spectacle.
What about Gotham City Sirens? How inexpensive do you think we could make that for if we tried?
If they focus on the characters, they can make it contained.
Yeah, I think you're not going to they're not going to greenlight a film under $80-90 million. Like, I don't see them even doing a $70 million film at this point. Like, even Wonder Woman, which is estimated, $149 million budget, is relatively small to the size of the spectacle that it looks like Justice League is going to be, right?
Yes, 100%.
Sirens, I think, will have the smallest budget of any of them that will come out, but I think that it will actually be a good thing because I think that, again,
it'll let David Ayer play with the world. And I keep going back to Deadpool. Deadpool costs like $12.
But still 70, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 70. But like
but also
that movie,
they said because basically had a little bit more of a standoff approach. That's why you're also able to get like Rob Liefeld cameos in it. You're able to get like these little references.
They cut an action set piece right before they shot. They didn't even know it got cut. Like that's like they literally. If you guys seen Deadpool recently, you know the scene where he like gets out of the car and forgot his guns.
Yes.
They found out 2 days before they're going to shoot that they cut it. Like the studio was like, no, and they're like, what do we do? That is what I think they're going to be working with DC for the Sirens thing, and that made a better movie. So if they can follow suit, we can get a better universe.
I also think that probably the biggest cost of that film is Margot Robbie at this point, and I think that she probably won't take a cut off the top because she's a producer on the film. So I think she'll
and
probably
she's so passionate about wanting to have it created.
It's
so
a back end situation at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she'll make a boatload of money off of it, but it's not going to count for their budget.
I heard somebody else point out how amazing it is that now what the writer's room, the creative team looks like over at DCEU all of a sudden is Joss Whedon, Patty Jenkins, James Wan, and David Ayer. And it's like now, I mean, and, it's kind of shifted away from Zack Snyder being like the one architect to now
multiple
kind of passing it over, and like you have the influence of Jeff Johns. We're starting to get to that balance where
not
I feel
to mention
really
potentially
great.
Zemeckis. So
I mean, listen, I can't wait till Comic-Con this year. I'm just freaking out by what's going to be announced at Comic-Con because whatever you think, it ain't going to be nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
And whatever it is at this point, and the fact is, Aquaman is shaping up to be the kind of thing.
Are you going again this year? Or we don't know.
I think I'm going. I think I'm going to be there.
For one of your 16 outlets? Or?
I think so. There was talk. I hope it happens that I was going to be down there to do a job. So I hope that happens. And then for sure I'll try to obviously get into the Hall H. But I just can't wait. Man. I can't wait to see what happens. So in addition to that, in talking about how Justice League is going to be even bigger and bigger, Warner Brothers just announced or just launched this Unite the League global initiative for sneak peeks for promotions, for merchandise. You can sign up. I got the email. Did you guys sign up for this?
No, I haven't yet, but I will.
Okay, not yet, but I will. Another email I'll be getting. So yeah, I just feel like that.
What do you think about the timing of this?
I think it's right before Comic-Con for a reason. I think that's not a coincidence. We're like 4 or 5 weeks out, and they're like, oh, by the way, I think it's a little late. I think they should have done it pre-Wonder Woman, but I think that they weren't quite
Well,
sure.
but this is Unite the League.
Right.
This is a week and a half after Wonder Woman. Like, now we're saying, like, boom, Wonder Woman is already off and running. Now we can start.
Yeah, that actually makes sense.
Also, Justice League is reporting to reshoot most of the summer. Not surprising because you have a lot of people and a lot of schedules.
For 3-ish months.
Whoa.
Yeah,
so let's talk about this for a
interesting.
second. Let's
they
talk
said
about
definitely
this.
2,
Chat
maybe
roll,
3.
what do you guys think? Do you think that it's just a few scenes that Joss Whedon did? Do you think that after Wonder Woman they're perhaps altering the film even more? We know they altered the tone of the film after BVS.
Yes.
I think no matter who you are, when you get a project that's been touched by somebody else so significantly, you have to put your spin on it. It makes perfect sense to me that they're doing reshoots for most of the summer. Of course. This was somebody else's project a couple weeks ago.
I wonder if it'll get the comma. Will it get directed by Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon?
I think maybe a with.
Yeah?
I think it's
out of
directed by Zack Snyder with
Out of
Joss
respect
Whedon.
alone, I feel like
I just
it
3.5
has to.
months is longer than I thought, and I want my biggest goal is for my Marvel. Don't go, hey, what was Zack Snyder's movie? Hey, what was Joss Whedon's movie? Because that'll ruin the integrity of the thing they built.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I'm afraid of is the fact that the reshoots are so extensive, then people are going to be picking apart the scene,
Maybe.
and then it'll become like
Sure.
a pissing contest.
So
But
it
it
said
also-
that they're expected to take place June, July, and could go into August.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised by that at all. As soon as they announced it, I assumed that there was going to be extensive reshoots because why not complete the movie this close to when it was going to be released if it didn't already need somewhat of extensive work? It seemed like, and I get needing to take time for your family, but
course.
if you've already spent this many months
Gearing back
seems-
up to do something that extensive would be exhausting.
It seems like it is a situation where it needed some work, and that's why it was brought in. So if they brought in someone else and then there was a week of reshoots, then it would be like, well, what's the point? This is you've got somebody else to polish.
You're 99%
somebody
done.
else's work. It makes way more sense, I think, to have somewhat extensive reshoots that are almost the size.
Hopefully most of that
Yeah.
time is
film.
just fixing cyborg CGI.
That'd be lovely.
Seriously.
Like, I would
Was
like
anybody-
all of that time to be spent for that.
Were you guys confused slightly, though? I saw this in a couple of different places and couldn't seem to get a grip on it. This was coming from Batman News. And they keep putting the word significant in quotes, but not letting me know who or where that was said. So it says, it's nice that we have a timeline now and we don't get too worried about the significant amount of work. Zack Snyder said himself that he hired Joss Whedon to write brand new scenes for the Justice League, and then later on again, and changes will be significant.
I wonder
they
if
saying-
Batgirl's more integral. Like, do you think she's going to be involved?
I don't
But
think there's any
Roxy's
Batgirl
asking,
in there.
why are they
Because, I mean,
saying that
why
this
else
is,
would they be
quote,
so specific about significant
What
and
is the
Joss Whedon?
quote?
I just don't understand who's saying
Who's
significant.
being quoted, and why is it significant
Yeah.
unless
Yeah.
it's being ironic? And if you're being
Don't do that in
like,
print. We don't get it.
I don't understand, and that's also not irony. You're
I don't. I just don't know whether
it's
I
poorly
missed an
written
article
because
where
it's not
Joss
accredited
Whedon
to anybody.
or-
It's a quote that's
Here's what I think. I think Joss Whedon has got the blessing and ear of Warner Brothers and Jeff Johns, and I think everybody's on the same page.
You think significantly so?
I think significantly so.
Yeah, me too.
And with some sensuality.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I think that pretty much they're going to do whatever they need to do and spend whatever they need to spend to make the movie as good as possible. And I really believe that, and I think the movie's going to come out better for whatever.
All right, let me ask you
know.
though. This time with some sensuality, you think we're sticking with the doggy style, or you think something with the lasso?
Well, if according to Professor M and the Wonder Women, I think the lasso would be significant. But that would be
Significant sensuality.
I think that would be a fair amount of sensuality, not just some. So a lot of Justice League. We'll probably see some more of that over the summer too. But talking about bringing worlds together, Coy Jandro, host of Marvel Movie News, is joining us today. I was just kidding. Mike Kalinowski will be back soon. But Two other creative heads.
I am obsessed with the fact that 45 minutes in, you made that enough.
Yeah.
By the way,
Sorry, spoiler. Jeff Johns and Kevin Feige took to the stage last night to honor their mentor, Richard Donner. I'm not sure if many of you knew, but Jeff Johns and Kevin Feige were both interns and worked for Donner back in the day, son. 17 years ago.
Big Donna making heroes.
I did not know that. That is the coolest thing.
So I actually heard about this from my lawyer, Jeff Cohn, who is famously Chunk in the Goonies movies, because he was speaking at this thing too, with one of his other cast members. And then he said that Johns and Feige were going to be, and then I saw on the Twitter thing. And
I think they just call it Twitter.
On the Twitter thing.
On the Twitter.
So you could see that there's, I think the Academy or whatever put this up. You can see Kevin Feige talks for about a minute and a half, and then Jeff Johns talks for about a minute and a half. And they basically give Donner all the props for being the archetype of the first and greatest superhero film origin story because of the word that Feige said he couldn't pronounce at the time that we talk about a lot, verisimilitude.
I love that they, like, the two voices of Marvel and DC spawned from...
Unbelievable.
Like, that's... Because Dick Donner's my child, like, our childhood, like, our generation's childhood.
Still top 5 movie for me. That first one was still top 5 comic book movie.
Yeah,
that first Superman.
I totally agree. And Lethal Weapon is
Even
my
now?
pre-Marvel franchise. Like, so...
Right,
the
so
fact
Donner, you said those are your two things.
Those are my two franchises.
Of course,
Dick
a
Donner
huge
being
Lethal Weapon
Lethal
fan.
Weapon is everything.
And he
So,
loves the show, too. It's kind of surprising.
the shows, guys, please, if you get one thing out of this, me being on this podcast, give Lethal Weapon a chance. But I really think that Dick Donner spawning the two voices in the two biggest studios that are superheroes is amazing kismet, because he is the Superman movie. Like, that's so much his voice.
That's so cool.
And the Goonies was, like, also, like, it's a superhero adventure feel.
I
I'm
read
so
an
happy.
article the other day that was titled, "Is the Goonies Overrated?" Rude.
What?
Rude.
That should have been subtitled, "Do you need to read this article?"
Significantly.
No.
Unsubscribe? Is that what that article said? 'Cause that's all I heard.
Yeah.
Goonies never say die.
So that's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing. It makes us feel like, we're all in great hands with with these movies moving forward. Like, Jeff Johns turned out to be such a great voice in comic books.
I love him.
And
Don't you want to hug him?
I want to hug both
Real
of them.
huggable.
Both of these guys have given me so much joy. I mean, like, Kevin Feige worked for years and years
But
under
Feige
Avi
doesn't
Arad.
look as huggable. It's just,
does.
It's Johns' face that's so
both
huggable.
He does. He's pretty cute.
And Josh Brolin of the Goonies, the Big Brother, is now both Thanos and Cable. I'm just saying
Pretty
the Goonies
cool.
and Dick Donner need all the credit.
Oh my goodness, you're right. That's really,
So true.
God, it just, man, they go in and out. If he's to be believed, Joel Kinnaman, in the latest case of an actor talking, said that Suicide Squad 2 could be filming next year, which is basically no news.
People
but,
are really running with this could be. It could be filming.
A lot of things could
I
happen.
could be in the movie.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and tie that into the Goonies too by saying Mel Gibson directing that out of being in Lethal Weapon, starring with Dick Donner directing.
Oh, yeah, it could happen.
It's coming back.
Oh, wow.
Everything's the Goonies, you guys.
All things lead to Goonies.
What do you think about that, Elena?
I mean, I feel like everybody jumps on to any time that anybody says anything could happen, and they just assume that means that it's a definite. And I feel like 90% of the time, actors are blocked out and they're given time to, they say, be available for this, but that doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to start shooting.
Did you see his quote?
Yeah, so here's his quote. As far as I know, they're writing the script for Suicide Squad 2, and I think the plan is to shoot it sometime in 2018, but that could change. I think I'll definitely come back for it. Ultimately, I'd love for David Ayer to direct it, but if he doesn't want to direct it, then someone who is great with character and that's able to ground the story and maybe put these characters in a more normal situation.
Boom! There it is.
That's the buzz.
It would be really interesting to see these crazy characters interact with regular people as well.
the farm scene.
I get it.
Bit of shade.
No, just not like, getting a team together and then them going through this like CGI godlike
Space hole.
situation.
Empty
Yeah.
city together
Yeah.
with just them. Yeah.
I think that there's a couple different interesting things about this quote. Number one, the fact that he really doesn't say when this is shooting at all, so
He
don't
doesn't
like.
know, so everybody jumps in and immediately is like, oh, well, it's shooting. He said it's
He said June 12th, right? June 12th. I
I
think.
think that's what he said.
Love that content.
Number two, that he says he would like David Ayer to come back, but he also very quickly says that he wouldn't mind if somebody else joined.
Yeah, it's basically like, as long as I'm cast, I like that it's being made.
Yes, and then he throws a little bit of shade at the previous film. So
I just feel so bad for actors today because they're going to get asked this 100,000 times, and anytime they respond at all, everyone jumps on it. And this guy's literally like, I'm not sure. And everybody's like, but what if June 12th? Like, it's so, like, he can't talk without
Honestly, though, I like what he says because I'm fine if Ayer and Margot Robbie go off for Gotham City Sirens because as much as I like Harley, I don't buy identify her as part of this team. Yeah. Like, I don't see why she's on a military strike force of these unusually powered people.
With a bat.
Except for the fact that Harley Quinn is so powerful, and that's why she's in the movie. Not because it makes sense. That's why she's in the movie. So I actually love these comments.
Yeah.
And I would love to see another Suicide Squad movie because I don't think they'll make the same mistake twice.
And the team's great.
Especially
and
not if it's David Ayer twice. He has said many times, like, I'm learning.
And Jai Courtney, like the cast they assembled is great, and the ability to make Will Smith, like what they could have done.
We didn't get anything with Jai Courtney's potential greatness. Like, it was just a lot of setup, and then there was nothing.
Every time they showed him, was like more of that, and every time Will Smith got to start doing something, I'm like more of that.
I agree. I don't even always like Will Smith, and I loved him in the role.
I like the movie.
You like the movie, which is great. And listen, the movie was very successful.
I liked it.
We disagree, and I think that's indicative of a lot of people's feelings of it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
Imagine
people that
Mel
feel like
Gibson.
I do, and there's people that feel like you do.
I liked it better than BVS.
Oscar winner Mel
agree.
Gibson directing
Effing
Suicide
Martha,
Squad. Can
man.
you imagine what the scope of that movie could be?
Stop! Get out of here with the Mel Gibson.
The Mel Gibson's important. It's the most recent news that I know about the director. Has there been another director rumored since?
Not other rumors. I will say, not sure how I feel about Mel Gibson. Do like that heartbreak. What was it? Not Heart Attack. Heart Attack Ridge? No, Heartbreak Ridge.
Bone
Chainsaw.
No. Hacksaw Ridge. Hacksaw Ridge.
Hackbone.
It was a really good film. It was a great film because he's a great director and a shit person.
But
Right,
yeah,
I'm not talking about him as a
that's
human
the
being.
thing.
I'm saying he's
I'm
directing.
not gonna watch Harley Quinn Sugar Tits. Like, I'm not watching that movie. I'm not.
It's not Roman
You
Polanski.
should shut up, Harley.
Not
Okay.
doing it.
Did you guys know that Zack Snyder also had a cameo in Wonder Woman?
It said that this had been talked about, but I don't remember seeing this ever.
I saw it a while ago. I do remember seeing this black and white picture, but then you can see he looks really authentic. He's got some big guns, and he has a cool cameo. I don't remember seeing him in the film, and I looked for it. Did you?
No, I looked. I'm gonna keep on looking.
All right, so we don't really know.
I'm thinking it must be the photo wall.
Oh, the photo wall at the
That
end.
it's the photo wall at the end, and that
Oh,
his
'cause
photo
it's
is
literally a
there.
photo.
It's literally a photo. So I'm thinking the only thing, since
but
we're
I
not
thought
seeing
it-
any footage of it, it's just the photo that it's in the trenches with Wonder Woman.
Oh,
I
maybe.
feel like it's the photo.
That's a cool
of
director
Steve,
cameo,
and then
too.
and then it's just him on the photo wall. Is what I'm assuming.
I like that.
Because then it's not too distracting, and
Because we've all looked.
Yeah, Anthony, we don't have video back yet, do we?
Okay, so that's all. I guess that's really all we need to really talk about. What?
No, there's a couple other things.
What did you want
The
to...
Josh Gad thing, man.
Josh Gad, but
It's
we
just because
already-
you don't want it.
I don't care. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
we already talked about him
We
being
already
taken,
talked about
but we
it.
didn't talk about him taking an actual meeting with DC.
Well, but did he? He just
took-
had a.
he
There's a
took a-
picture with him.
So
there's a picture of
him
Josh Gad
in front of the DC
with
wall
Jeff Johns.
with Jeff Johns, and he posted it and said, "Nothing to see here."
So you interpret that as he took a meeting.
I do.
The caption is literally like, "I took a meeting" to me. He's like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
that's-
that nothing is everything."
nothing to see here. 100% means look at this. Look,
He could have
this is
posted a
what
picture of
this
a
is.
rubber
But I mean,
ducky,
listen,
and I'd be like,
it could be something, but just like he's doing with the the Daisy Ridley videos, like he likes to.
You're calling
He's a fun-
Swerve.
yeah.
You're pulling a Johnny.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I would find it very weird if this ended in him actually being cast as the
I
penguin.
think he would be a great penguin.
Me too.
But
I think
again,
it
I
was
have to go
perfect.
back to that thing. Is like, what kind of penguin in what world? Like, I don't know.
Ironic,
Just because
funny.
he's
Trying
kind
to
of
make
like a
the
pudgy
penguin
guy.
so black and white, man.
No, I mean, look. Did you see how he is in the Telltale games
Thank you.
or in the Gotham show? I mean, or Danny DeVito. There's so
Yeah,
many
it's
different
where-
kinds of
where we're going.
penguins.
I
I mean,
agree.
he's a
But
good
I
actor.
think
But
he'd be great. I think he would be awesome. He was one of my
But you don't
favorite
even
parts
know
of
what
Beauty and
it
the
would-
Beast.
okay.
So I feel like he's a very dynamic actor. I feel like he would do a great job.
I think he's hilarious, and I think that'd bring a very interesting take to
It
the
would.
penguin.
I
There-
think
like
so,
like an
too.
ironic humor in the penguin would be
Because
interesting.
the penguin and it's not a character that you would take super duper seriously
'Cause Danny
unless it's in
DeVito-
a situation. Right.
Like Always Sunny in Philadelphia's Danny DeVito is still the penguin.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? When I see the Always Sunny character, that
I want to
troll
know which
man,
penguin pooped the bed. Like it's
It's an interesting, yeah, it's an interesting character to go with the humor of Josh Gad. And
Yeah, I
I
think
love,
it'd be great.
I love seeing comedians play dark. Look at Robin Williams. Look at Jim Carrey. Look at all these like famous comedic actors. When they go dark, you feel it because there's so much high. The lows are more depth. So Josh Gad being
all
such
right,
a light.
you've convinced me.
That's my
I
pitch.
believe Josh
All right.
Gad is the penguin.
And then before we get to my
Great
favorite
argument.
time,
Well
the
said.
other thing that I just wanted to mention because we weren't able to watch it, Gal put out the most adorable thank you. It was so sweet. She put out a video. She's wearing these big glasses. She's got no makeup on. She's the most beautiful person in all of the land. And she just put out the most heartfelt thank you ever. It was a short video, and she was just like, "You guys did this. Wonder Woman's the #1 in the world. I can't believe it, and thank you." And it was I don't know. I hadn't seen something like that in a while. I thought it was really cute.
Is she in Israel when she's taking? She's got a beautiful vista behind her. It looks like it could be Israel, but I couldn't tell.
It could also just be the Hollywood sign, honestly.
It could be,
really
yeah.
tell.
The majestic hills.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Could
but
be Bronson Canyon. It could be Israel.
it
You
was
never
it
know.
was perfect.
But so a lot of stuff to talk about. Very exciting. I'm sure we'll have more things to talk about. That's it. I guess it's time to leave and go away for another week.
It's time.
Yeah,
Oh,
Roxy
bless.
Striar TV time.
Okay.
Sing along with me this time.
Do we have to do
Roxy
this again?
Striar TV time. She thinks that the
Aren't
flash
these
is
shows
fun, both
over?
of them.
See movie
Just,
news,
oh
it's
my
time
god,
to
that was so
talk.
mean.
TV time. Do you
Maybe
think-
Adam should be the penguin. He's so cold.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was unprepared for
What's
this.
going on? What's going on in the world of
All right,
TV?
so here's what's going on in the world of TV. Number one, we had because I have to just start with this, we had the Gotham 2-hour finale. Now, I know that I'm one of the few people out there that's still watching this.
Spoilers.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Wow, I feel like I put extra syllables.
No, you're
There's
not one of
like
the
an
few
extra
people. A
I
lot of
there.
people like Gotham in the
Spoilers.
chat room. I think a lot of people have resigned to start just having fun with Gotham.
So this is,
Yeah, I
if
think
you
it's
can
fair.
look at it like fanfic, if you can look at it like a soap opera, if you can just take it for what it is, the show rocks. These 2-hour finales, I cannot even explain to you how many characters died. They murdered off everybody. And then brought 2 of them
Game
back
of
to
Thrones
life.
Gotham.
So these are all spoilers. I'm going to just spoil it for you guys because I'm hoping you don't care too much.
Spoilers for Gotham. Turn off now. See you next week if you care.
We kill Alfred,
Oh boy,
and then we bring him back.
that'll stick.
Because we put this water on him that cauterized the wound and special something. So Bruce Wayne turns back into himself. We also kill off Fish Mooney for about the 50th time. But,
Finally.
But she makes a speech while she's dying, addressing to fans that she knows she's died a lot of times, but this will be the last time.
She actually gives an exit
She
speech.
literally-
Oh my god, that's
She
amazing.
literally says, I know I've come back many times, but I swear this is the last. It was ridiculous. Then we kill off Barbara
Final
Gordon.
sentence is what
Yes.
an ex
Barbara
sends in your
Keene?
DMs
Oh, that's
with.
so
That's
good.
not great.
Yeah, Barbara Keene. Yeah, we electrocute her.
Not Barbara Gordon. Barbara
Yeah,
Keene.
sorry. And she,
It's Lazarus Pit, Roxy. It's
Pit,
Lazarus water. Yeah.
Lazarus. Okay.
It's
It
Lazarus.
Oh, that makes more
It was
sense.
not the Lazarus Pit though. It was like a weird because we're
It was,
introduced
but it
to
was
Ra's
the
al Ghul,
juice from
but
the Lazarus Pit.
it
Laz
looked.
Justo.
But that's what I'm saying. It looked like you were literally taking like Aquafina and dumping it on
was
him. There was
Lazarus
nothing
eau de
cool
toilette.
about it. It was weird.
Budget
Yeah,
cuts.
I'm sorry about that. Barbara Keene dies. She gets electrocuted. She looks bizarre. And there was that. And then we also see Batman.
Early Batman?
Yes.
Proto-Bat?
But he's homeless Batman looking because he's got weird black I don't know. You'd expect dreads to be under
But
that.
there's no bat iconography incorporated.
No, but it is like how the scene, what you picture to be his origins. We're watching it, except instead of him, it's a little girl, and you're like, what the F am I watching?
So Darren Aronofsky's. Remember when he had that homeless Batman with Big Al with the
No,
the
but
mechanic?
it looks like it was more like
So wait, there was a
ninja.
little girl that was about to get mugged in the alley, and he stops that.
And he stops it, and he beats the crap out of this person, then he goes all the way to the top of the building, and
Oh,
he's
really?
standing there. So there's that part of
No
it.
cape though, right?
No, it's not a cape, but he's wearing a cowl, but not. It looks more like he's about to rob a store. It was bizarre. And then we also killed the other dude that I liked, and we gave his hand away. I forget his name though. He's a bigger dude.
Oh, they gave his hand away. Which
Yeah.
one was that?
I don't know. You guys will
So
tell
it
me.
sounds like it was kinda
Anyway,
like, you
so
know,
this
what
finale
happens.
was
Yeah.
weird AF, but I loved it.
Compared to the other
I don't know
DC
where we're
finales?
going from
They
here.
said there was a back signal like a cloud behind him.
Oh, I didn't even see the cloud.
Ooh.
You can't like murder Alfred, man. And
They brought him back.
yeah, but do you understand that Bruce Wayne murders Alfred?
Oh, I did not understand.
He's-
Well, but it was
He-
clone Bruce Wayne, right?
No, it was real Bruce Wayne who had
Oh,
been
he shouldn't
whose
do that.
mind had been confused,
Oh.
and he stabs Alfred through the heart.
Alfred's gotten a lot. He's taken quite a beating this season. I'm a couple of episodes back, and he just got his ass kicked with an iron by fake Bruce.
Yeah.
Does DC have
Butch
what
was
if-
that dude's name. His name was
No.
Butch.
Okay, because Gotham, whenever I watch Gotham, I see it as a what if.
Yeah, it's like what
It's
if?
the what if
Okay,
title.
and then I'm reading all these articles out there saying that they think that Lee is Harley Quinn and Commissioner Gordon is the Joker.
Oh,
What
Butch.
the F
Someone
is
is saying
going on?
Butch, who I guess
Butch
gave his
is the
hand
guy,
away.
yeah, Butch
but
is
he looks like he's coming
Grundy.
back as Solomon Grundy, born in a Monday.
maybe.
Died in a Tuesday. What did he do? What's the whole thing? Oh, damn it. I should have started that if we could have finished it.
Yeah. Oh, what was cool? Another cool thing though was that Selena Kyle got her.
Whip?
We finally got her with it.
Lasso of Truth?
How she? No, it wasn't
Whip it
Lasso of
good?
Truth. Everybody in the chat, Butch, Roxy, Butch. How could you forget Butch? Sorry, guys. Okay, so that was Gotham. Really, really crazy. iZombie, which Adam keeps asking for shows to binge, but yeah, he will
I don't
not
keep
watch
asking for
iZombie.
shows to binge. I say I have too many shows to binge.
Adam's like, I have all this free time.
No free time.
So I know you're a little behind, so I won't do spoilers here, but I know you love iZombie, which
so
Does she eat the
good.
brains?
so good. She eats the brains for shizzle.
Spoiler.
But what you
Right
have
there.
seen in commercials is that we do get her ex-boyfriend back for this episode. I won't explain exactly how, but it's freaking hysterical. And they actually play "Zombie" by the Cranberries for the first time in this, which is awesome. In the funniest scene ever
good
on this
song.
show, ever. It's so good. It's
I love
just
that they
so
saved
good.
that for a moment. Like they knew everybody wanted it, so they're like, wait for it.
It was
Yes.
perfect.
Do you remember when they played Green Day "I Walk Alone" in Smallville?
Oh, that was amazing.
That was like my favorite
So good.
song in a TV show ever. That just reminded me
The
of that.
closing
It's such a
songs of
great song.
Smallville were always so strong.
They
I
had some
remember
really
so many
strong
pre-credits, like,
Great
oh,
music.
Like Lost almost,
yeah,
right?
like you just
yeah.
you leave, you're like, I want another week.
Yeah.
But that song got me.
That brought me back.
Smallville's good.
Watch Smallville, guys. Let's
there's
get
your
that
binge.
season 11.
Oh, yeah,
Come on,
Hugo
let's make it happen.
Strange. Because people are saying Harley Quinn. That's why Lee. It makes no
Yeah.
sense. She's not Harley Quinn, but she does go off.
Oh, that Lee? Lee is going to become Harley?
That's what they're saying, but it's just no way.
Is she
Because
still alive? Is Miranda Bakarin's character
She
still
is
alive?
still alive, but she's just gone off because she just they did this whole poison thing. It was a whole long storyline. She can't be there because now she's admitted to being in love with Jim, and you know.
Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2.
Exactly. All right. So people still Butch Roxy. I got it. It was Butch.
People are still asking why is the Marvel guy on here. We explained that at the beginning of the show. Inner Geekdom, Pink Slips. Keep
Start
up.
now. I gotta start reading DC.
That's funny. All right. So yeah, and then those were the shows this week. But in news, we got our CWDC TV show announcements. We're starting on October 12th. I think Arrow is going to be the first one. I asked that like a question, looking at Adam. He didn't have the answer.
I think one is October 9th, and that might
really?
be Arrow. One is October 12th, I
So
think.
the 11th. So that
I
week.
looked at it real quick.
So we're waiting until October, beginning/mid-ish of October. At least they're coming back.
Did you guys watch all Justice League Action? That was my favorite DC show this year. It's just so good. 15 minutes, no commercial breaks. You get lots of fun characters. It's for children, but it's really good in the continuity, and they're good stories. I love it. It's like a palate cleanser between shows. So get on that Justice League Action.
All right, cool. That was time.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you. That was a packed show, wasn't it? A lot of fun. I apologize about the technical difficulties. You know, there's a lot that goes into making a big production thing like this. Like, yes, I danced and knocked off one of the screens.
It happens.
Yes, that probably had an adverse effect that affected our ability to show videos, but we try. Elena, tell them where to find you.
Hey, you guys can find me on Twitter at Elena Jordan and on Instagram at that Elena Jordan Girl. Oh, and I'll be at Amazing Las Vegas Comic Con in 2 weeks, so come up and say hey to me if you're there.
Cool.
Roxy Striar.
I'm Roxy Striar. You guys can find me everywhere at Roxy Striar.
Excellent. Way to clarify so that they know how to pronounce it and everything at the end. Way to
Lot of
bring it
Rs.
home.
I mean, if this is their first time tuning into the show, I already lost them probably.
Yeah.
So
8 eyes and spoiler too.
All right. Well, our special guest, new co-host, he'll be here every episode. This is not just a one-time special thing. So if you don't like it, tweet at Mike Kalinowski. Tell him
we
you
just
saw him.
Dwayne says
Mike?
you guys should keep Coy on the show. He is great. So sorry,
Thanks, Dwayne.
Mikey.
Sorry, Mike.
Just make
Oh,
sure
man,
that
it
you
happens.
send Mike lots of cases of pudding. He really likes it.
Captain
Son of a
Dingleberry says I don't trust Coy and his mustache. So
All
we're
right,
getting, we're
Coy.
getting
Besides
mixed.
this show, every week for the rest of time, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CoyJanDreau. I've been doing these little Insta reviews where I review whatever you guys want for a minute. So I want to like watch content, receive content, give comic recommendation, give book recommendations. So much fun. You can find me on Marvel on Tuesdays, and I also want to tell Mike that he's the greatest. And
He's
that
the
was
greatest.
such
We love
a
you,
good
Mike.
fight.
Just
We love you
kidding.
so much. And
love ya.
I've been wanting to do the show forever, and I really like Wonder Woman was amazing. So I really love
Awesome.
being here for this.
Love to have you, man.
And DC is incredible, so I want everyone to read everything.
Rock out with your socks out.
Mike Kalinowski, you can find him out Mike Kalinowski at Jonny Loquasto, who's off being funny somewhere, probably.
Jay Quasto.
At Jay Quasto.
Oh yeah, he's on a boat.
He's on a boat. Oh, that's right. He's doing comedy on the water in like
That's
Alaska.
He's on
I
a
was
boat.
like,
wild.
what state and or country are you in? He's like, I'm on a boat, dude. I was like, oh, okay.
Flippy floppies.
I'm Adam Gertler. You can find me with my co-host Sasha Pearl Raver on FX Movie Download. I believe we're doing World War Z this Friday on FX.
Well, actually, I really like that.
Oh yeah, no, it's actually pretty good. We do some cool behind-the-scenes stuff, and you can follow me online on Twitter and Instagram at Adam Gertler. I'll see you next time on DC Movie News.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Kristian Harloff, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.